All right, welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is all about personal finance as well as retiring early and financial freedom. So if you're new to this channel and you want to get weekly videos of how myself and my client have left our corporate jobs or our dreaded 9 to 5 jobs, then hit that like and subscribe button because I'm uploading weekly videos to share with you what we're doing and what strategies and plans that we put in place so that we can work for ourselves, have financial freedom, and never have to have a boss again. So today I'm going to talk about when I left corporate America. And I have not made a video about this yet, so this is going to be the first video I'm going to do about it, but I'm sure I'm going to be making some more content around this as well because there's just a lot to talk about and it's hard to get everything into one video. So my journey. What we're going to just discuss like just the part where I went into corporate America because I have some jobs, through high school as well as college, retail, and some restaurant jobs here and there, and then also got a chance to work around people on Wall Street as well as some mutual fund companies. So I had some jobs there, like kind of internships as well as some temp jobs doing that. So fast forward, I get my college degree. I got a degree in business administration management, and I wasn't quite 100% sure what I was going to do with it. I was looking into things like HR, finance, accounting, marketing. So, I did exactly what I was told to do. I was told to go to college. I was told to, do well in college, graduate, get out, find that great corporate job, stay there, move up the ladder, and then retire when I'm 65 to 70. And so I'm like, okay, that sounds like a great idea. But when I graduated, I had a really hard time finding work because I had no experience in those sectors. So, it was really hard for someone to, like give me a chance. And so I became extremely discouraged at the time. I was so upset and angry because I kind of had left a job that was paying me really good. And I just thought I was going to find something at least within the first few months out of college. And it didn't happen that way. So what ended up happening was I had some savings, thank God. I had purchased my first house as well. And so I was basically off work, but I was okay. I was traveling. I had to deal with my sister getting into a car accident. So I was gone a little bit to Maryland for that. And so I just took some time off for reflection and myself. So I was really happy I didn't have to worry about, like college anymore and tests and school and things like that. And I got to just travel a little bit and just do me. And as well as I didn't have a job at that time because I figured when I resigned from one job, I was going to have this other job because I was applying at so many places and interviewing. So I felt like something in the next week or two was going to come through. So that did not happen, like I said. So it took me, I want to say it took me almost, I think I graduated like March, what was graduation, May. And then by the time I landed something, it was September. So it's not too bad. It's just, it wasn't what I wanted. A lot of jobs were trying to pay me super low, like stuff I was making in high school, like really low wages. And I could not believe it was that low. And this was office job. So it was like almost like they were trying to pay me like retail and restaurant wages. So I was so upset. But of course, I got to start working. I got to get that experience. So I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and start working and getting the experience. So I got hired at an oil and gas company and I started like doing office like admin work. And then as they were growing and they were merging with this other firm, they put me in the accounting department. And that's where my accounting background came from. So during that time, I'm into financial independence and I want to, eventually retire. And I'm thinking it was going to be, I didn't really necessarily think it was going to be 50 or 60 or 70 or anything. I was just like, well, it's going to be later in life. I'm young right now. I'm in my mid 20s. It's going to be so much later. I don't have to worry about it. But I started looking at my income and like how I would go to work, and I was a hard worker. I was always, I was known for my work ethics, which is really good. I was known for my work ethics. I'm not tooting my own horn. I have this really good reviews from my job. So I was always a hard worker. I would work. I would take the laptop home on the week because this is way before remote work. So yeah, you can take your laptop and go work, do some extra work from home, maybe get some overtime. But it wasn't like they would let you work remotely. You needed to come to the office. So I would be working on normal 40 hours, 45 hours a week at the office. Then if there was like deadlines, I would take the laptop home and work Saturday or Sunday. And they didn't have any time frame. They were just like, get the work done, be at the office on Monday. So basically, me and the other admins in the office, this is some of the things we were doing. So we were working a lot. But when I looked at my income, not just from that job, but what the field paid, as well as my bills and expenses, I was just like, the math didn't work. I was like, I don't understand how I'm going to be able to retire early or do what I want to do with this income. It's just too low. I mean, I love to help like my family and take care of my family and help people in the community. So like if there's nothing left barely for me, I can never give back and do and help other people the way I want to. So I basically could like if family needed something, there was nothing left to give them. Like if they needed, if there was birthday gifts or you know vacations or whatever. It was money there, but it was nothing to brag about. It was really low and it was hard. And I'm not just saying this, it was really hard to live off of. So I would get my check, they'll take out taxes, Social Security, and I got a 401k, so they'll take a little bit for the 401k. So my wages were already pretty low, and then I would get money taken out of my check. So then it was a little lower, even lower. So I was like, I just started looking at it. I was like, I don't understand how I'm gonna be able to do what I need to do in life. Like, I know that I can get raises over the next few years. I know that I can, and I'm a hard worker. I know because I can work 2 to 3 jobs at a time. Like I know how hard I work, so I could put in the work and I can get my raises and I can get promoted. But I don't want to do this. I don't want to overwork myself. I wanted to have a good income where I can live a good life and do the things I want to do. So that became an issue. I started looking at the income part. When I did get a raise, it was like $1 or $2. I don't know if it was 50 cents. I want to say I even got a 50 cent one year, but it was like the raises they were giving. It wouldn't put a dent in what I was trying to do, right? So the income was one issue. Then, as I spoke to, I became really close to like the HR manager, the lady who does the hiring and firing and all that for the company. And I would go and have lunch with her. We actually still are connected, even almost like 10 years later, we're still connected. And so she even remembers, these conversations. But I remember we went out for lunch and I would tell her, I was like, hey, I know I have to build my skills up. And this was over a year or two into it. So this wasn't even like right away. I wasn't looking for anything right away because I understood I need to build my skills up. I was like, hey, I know I need to build my skills up and everything, but I need to make more money. Like, what do I need to do? Like, just tell me. I'm working already the hours? What am I missing that I'm not able to get to the next level? Or what do I need to do now so that in the future I can get where I want to be? So she just told me how you move up in corporate America, and she just told me give me some tips and pointers, but it just seemed like it was good conversation, but it was almost like, well, it was stuff I felt like, well, how do I implement it? In a sense like that, like I still didn't know how to implement it. So I started taking more classes, and the good thing about when I started taking some more classes at college is the company would reimburse me and pay for it. So that was a good incentive that company had for their employees. But over the years, I started looking, and I think I got, like I said, a dollar. I think I may have, by the time I had left, maybe went up $3 or something over like a 5-year period at that job. Um, maybe $3 or $4. Yeah, about $3 or $4 raise over five. So I was basically getting like a 50 cent to $1 raise a year, just like I said. So that is not going to help me, especially when I was already starting kind of like at a lower wage. So I started looking at what else I needed to do. And as you go around, you kind of talk to people in the office who may have the manager level or supervisory level. And the people that because like I said, I work in accounting, so I kind of had an idea of how much some of the people in a job were making. So I would talk to them, and it would be like there was an executive assistant role for 80,000 a year, and but the lady told me, it was brutal. She's already been through life. I think she went through almost like one job a year. Like she was that lady, even though she was giving me some great advice, she was like almost changing jobs yearly when you looked at because she had her LinkedIn and as well as I knew her just from working with her. So she wasn't lasting in those roles. But she also said they were very demanding and very hard. And you don't really get a day off. Like you're off Saturday and Sunday or whatever, but they're calling you. They need something. They need you to go do something. They need you to do some type of paperwork on a weekend. And she had like there were 2 or 3 kids at the time. I think she was married too. And so she was just saying like it was really demanding, but the money's good. So I think the way I understood her story, she was just stacking her paper basically. But anyway, so the other people were like said I had to go back and get like master's degrees and PhDs, and I'm just like, so I have to keep like I've already spent my entire childhood and life in school, and I have to stay in school, and I have to work. So it sounds like I will have to be in school for another 5 years, and then take on more student loan debt, and then take on more debt, and not still have to start basically I would get another degree, but you still don't just jump into what you want to do. It seems like you still have to you probably move up a little bit, but you still have to you'll be at entry level at that point. But you're taking on so much debt, you're losing so much time in your life. And I felt like how much schooling do I need? Like I'm pretty smart and I learn fast and things like that. Like I'm not saying certain positions you don't need more education because like we do know that is the case for people like in the medical field or people in law or people in certain scientists or certain fields. You need a lot of education for some of these jobs, but I feel like a lot of stuff. Someone did tell me you can learn a lot on the job, like, but it does take a little while, but you can learn on the job, and from that you can move up as well. Like you don't always have to go get all these more certification and degrees, but if somebody in the office or the job is willing to train you in that role, and I did see that actually happen. So if they're willing to train you in like let's say you're a junior accountant or like a bookkeeper, but then you want to be like, well, you probably can't call yourself a CPA, but you can probably have almost the same um, like you pretty much work under someone where they're training you so much over the years that you actually know the job almost as good as they do, but you didn't go to college. Basically, is what I'm saying. So I met people like that who says, "Well, I never went. I started with just an associate's, whatever, and I just moved my way up over 15, 20 years. I never went back to school and got any more degrees or anything." So that was an option. I just felt like you know, now I have to find these people at my job who want to help me and train me when they're already busy. And some of them did take me under their wings a little bit and show me a few things, but then they got busy and they have to be like, okay, well, this is do this. I'm gonna give you this, and this is how you do it, and just put this in for me, and we'll work on something else next time. It was stuff like that. So, but overall, what I'm just trying to get at you guys is when I did the math and just looked at like just the people around me, just what I knew from at that standpoint, it didn't make sense for me to keep going to school and getting more education. It didn't make sense for me to like move up the corporate ladder or continue to give all my time, my energy, and my life to a corporation. It just did not make sense to me. If it makes sense to you, or if that's what you want to do, by all means, go for it. It's just, I found myself when I was working a lot, I found myself under a great deal of stress. And like I said, I could work. I'm a pretty hard worker. people used to joke and be like, "You must be Jamaican." I mean, like I don't know, but they'll be like, "You must be Jamaican because you can work. You work 2, 3 jobs when I was in college and high school stuff." People like you could just work and you always have all this energy. So I'm slowing down. By the way, I'm not. I don't have all that energy I had when I was younger. But what I'm just trying to say is like, I was a hard worker, but I also lost a lot of time with family. And I missed a lot of things in my life that I wish I did not miss. And I, end up losing my brother and my dad and things that happened. And when both of them died, guess where I was? At work. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I really don't even want to talk about it, but I'm gonna just go ahead and be vulnerable. I don't know. My dad, at one point, when he started, as he was older and aging, he was staying with me for a little while. Eventually got his own place, but he was staying with me for a little while. And this is when I have, like my a little bit lower wage jobs. I wasn't out of college yet, and I wasn't in corporate America yet. And I remember he woke up. He's like, my chest is hurting so bad. I feel so sick. And if you've ever had a parent that was muscular and strong. And, of course, your father, like the strongest man and then you see them kind of start becoming weak and fragile. That is really hard to adjust to because as a little girl, he was always this tough, strong, masculine male figure in my life. And to see him become like fragile and weak, I've never seen this guy sick in my life. So his chest was hurting. He had fluid on his lungs and on his heart or something. I don't really know the medical um, terms of everything he was going through, but I believe he had like fluid on his lungs or something like that, and something with his heart. So getting ill over the years, but um, I remember when he was like, "Please, like, call 911. I'm feeling terrible." I remember that day. And so I called 911. I called up. The ambulance came. They picked him up, and they told me I could ride in the front. Now at this time, I think I was catching a bus. I think so because I remember we got to the hospital. They checked him in, and I said, "Dad, um, you're basically in good hands." And I remember saying, "But I have to go to work." All right, guys, I'm back, and I'm going to try to finish this story for you. So I remember telling him, "Hey, I have to go to work." And I know people might be like, "Well, your dad's sick. Why didn't you take off work that day? Why didn't you just stay at the hospital with him?" Well, because my dad was sick, I have to go to work to make sure the bills are being paid so he has a place to come home to. And we have food and we have things that we need, right? So I have to go to work. But my dad ended up being, okay for that time. I believe he passed away maybe a year or two after that incident. I can't really remember the time frame, but it wasn't like he was dying. I mean, if he was dying, of course I'm going to take off work. I'm not going to go to work if he's dying at that moment or whatever. But, he was in good hands. He was at a great hospital. If you know anything about Houston, we have the best we have a humongous medical center, an area called the Medical Center, which has several of the best hospitals in the country. And people fly from all over the world to come to our hospital, especially Texas Children, which deals with a lot of, like children who have certain diseases or illnesses that, are maybe not as common. We have a lot of doctors that can handle those type of situations here. Our cancer center in D. Anderson, I mean, I meet people, sometimes I'll be just talking to somebody and they'll be like, "Yeah," I was like, "Well, where are you guys from?" "Oh, we're just here, we're from wherever, and we're just here because we had to fly to MD Anderson and go to the cancer center for the treatment because the treatment is so good." So, he was in good hands that day. So, the point I'm trying to make is I had to go to work, right? And I did. And what I'm trying to say is when I was working so much in corporate America, I missed a lot of family time and events so I can move up in corporate America. And of course, it's for the best of our families, right? We don't just do this for anything more than we want better lives for ourselves, better lives for our family. So, folks, we got to do what we got to do at the time, right? We got to do what we got to do. And my parents are so proud of me. So, that helps me deal with those days I had to miss some of the family functions. But I will say, like, the more you're trying to move up in corporate America, the more of your time that they ask for, the more they want you to work and keep devoting yourself to the organization. I don't think there's anything wrong with, what am I trying to say? Like, I know they pay us to, contribute to the organization in our skill set, but I think it's just becoming the amount of time that people are putting into their jobs instead of their real passion and purpose in life, kind of. And our time on this earth is short. So we are spending like the majority of our most golden years of our health and our vibrancy and things like that. We're spending all of that working and working for other people. And like I said, if you have to do that for the time being, there is nothing wrong with that. You do what you have to do. If you love your job because you're teaching, kids at a community, or you're a doctor or whatever, do what you love. As long as you're in your passion and your purpose, you're fine. This is more about people who are overworked, underpaid, and not living in that passion. This is mainly what I created the channel for. So that's one of the things. Just like um, the time I was devoting, and then the pay, the stress level, and a little weight gain in the tummy didn't help either, because you'd be sitting at the desk all day, you're sitting around all day, you're not really moving. So I feel like my health kind of declined a little bit being there as well. My, like, mental health as well as my physical health. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse. I should have probably, incorporated more exercise into my life at that time. But I found when I worked in retail or in restaurants, I was always on my feet. So I was moving more, and I burned a lot of calories, and I just had this really flat belly. And I just remember, you know, thinking back, saying, "Oh, that's why when I started working at these places, all those people were losing their hair. You see the people that are a lot older than you, and you're like, oh, that's why they're bald, or that's why they got the big bellies." And you start realizing, like, the longer you stay there, your health starts to decline too. You start losing a little bit of your hair too, right? So I just looked at those things. So let me tell you guys, now that we covered that part, let me tell you guys what I ended up doing. So I remember this conversation. So I moved to another company, by the way. So I moved to another oil and gas company. And when I tell you this company was phenomenal, this company was phenomenal. And my boss, she was amazing. The CEO was amazing. All my coworkers were amazing. The pay was better than the previous place. The benefits were better. And the bonuses were great. And it was just a great place. And then I'm working, and there's stress, and there's deadlines, and I'm working and I'm working. And it's like one incident, my boss was like, and I actually, okay, I'll tell y'all that a little later. So in one instance, my boss was like, "You were at a review. You were such a great employee. We love having you being a part of the team. Here's your 50 no a dollar raise and your bonus." Okay. And then on the other hand, she was reprimanding me a lot. The other, because she was the CFO, and then there was the one under her. It was a lady under her, and she was on my ass a lot too. And they were like, "You're doing great, but we just gotta do more, 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 more." Like, we gotta get this out, get this out. We got to realize work, 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 work. But we all had really good work ethics. Like, all of us were like kind of like workaholics or hardworking women. So um, I was just under a great deal of stress from that job as well. The pay was better, like I said, but it still wasn't going to get me where I needed to be. It was really good, but it was good enough, but not. I would have been stuck there till 65, pretty much, because of or 70 or whatever. It was kind of like, it's enough. It's a little more than the last place. It's enough for your bills. It's a little extra in your pocket, but that's it. Another thing that happened between me and that my CFO is, I had all expense paid trip to Belize. And I told her I needed to take a week off to go to Belize. And it could have been 5 days. Well, a week, because yeah, I wouldn't have been at work Monday through Friday, or like I would have, yeah, because I was going to take 3 days off during the weekday plus the weekend, 5 days plus coming back Monday. So about, so yeah, I'm gone for almost 5, 6 days. So she went to our CEO, and our CEO told her, he was amazing, by the way. I'm just telling y'all what happened. Our CEO told her, or from what she told me, he said, well, you haven't been here, because this is when I first had started there. It was like maybe a month. No, it wasn't even, because it's like 3 months into me being there. Yeah, about 3 months into me being there. She said, you have not been here long enough for us to let you off. Plus, we are super busy. We really need your help. And I wasn't asking them to pay me. So I wasn't saying like, yeah, like I'll use my paid vacation because I didn't accumulate any yet. So I wasn't asking them to pay me for that. So they had told me no, and I was like really down because I was gonna go with friends, and I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to do this trip. And I remember she said no, and then I just remember saying, I'm gonna work here, and I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do my best, but I just don't want anyone telling me no anymore because I'm a hard worker, and I'll come. And the thing is, I'm gonna tell you guys something else. I understand companies need us when they need us and things like that. But what I'm trying to say is, for the remainder of the time I was with that company for a few years, for the few years I was with that company, I worked the weekends. I took the laptop home and did work. So I'm giving so much of my time and my energy to the corporation. And they only gave us, I want to say they gave us, I could be wrong because it was such a while ago, but I want to say we got all the holidays off, right? All the main holidays. But I think we got 2 week vacations a year. So it just was like not enough because once you took off for some funerals or some emergencies with family or whatever over the years, you kind of ate up a little bit of that vacation time because you would use that vacation time for those times or those sick days. So I felt like I just didn't get enough time off for the amount of time I was putting into work. Maybe if that makes sense. So I just remember saying to myself, this, I'll never, like, I'm gonna work and I'm gonna do my job, but I'm never gonna let this happen to me again. I'm gonna find a way out. So, and that's actually how this title of this YouTube channel came about. I was literally telling my friend Margaret, who was actually my manager at another office. She just calls me one day and she says, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I'm planning my corporate escape, but I said it like in like that Pinky, I don't know what that show is called, Pinky and the Brain, show years ago. But I was like, it's like a math scientist. And I was literally like writing and jotting down stuff and learning about personal finance and implementing things and doing stuff and investing and trading stocks and day trading and swing trading. So I was like really learning about finances so I know what to do and what not to do. So she was cracking up. I remember she was cracking up. She was like, "Ha ha ha, you're so silly," kind of like that. And fast forward, she always commends me for what I've been able to do. But um, you know, I just said, like I said, I just was like, I'm not gonna let this ever happen to me again. If I need to take off personal time, I'm gonna take off personal time. If I need a break, I need a break because I run at 80 to 100 miles an hour. I'm always doing something, working hard, you know, volunteering, giving back, whatever. I'm always going, going, going. So when I crash and I say I need a break, I need a break. And if you don't get those breaks, that's how those mental breakdowns happen, which is eventually what I had. So, okay, guys. All right. So I remember the day, it was a hard decision. I walked into her office, and I sat down with her and I told her I was quitting. And I remember her face. I remember she was like, oh, kind of like, what do you mean you're quitting? Like, this is the best job anyone can ask for, right? And I'm like, I'm quitting. And she was like, no, no. She was like, no, you're not quitting. I think I gave her my resignation. I think she even gave it back or said, I'm going to hold this just in case you change your mind or something. I'm going to give you a few days to calm down. And I'm going to hold this until you change your mind or whatever. If you change your mind or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm not changing my mind. I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving. And she goes, and I can't remember everything she said, but I just remember her saying, like, what are you talking about? And I hired you because I wanted you to be, or something like that. Like, I wanted, like we got along well. So I think she was like, I'm like you can't do this, like you can't, I don't know, like I was like, not just you can't do this to me, but like kind of like I hired you and I've helped you so much, and kind of like I don't know how she did it, said it, but it was almost like she was just in shock. That's all I could take. Okay, this is the next thing she said. She says, and how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? What are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm right now. I don't have. I mean, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to take off for a few months and relax, travel, just live my life and figure everything out. Of course, I had a plan, guys. I had a plan. I was planning my corporate escape already. I had a plan. But anyway, so she was like, me and my husband, because she's a CFO. Remember, CFOs are way over six-figure earners. I wasn't a six-figure earner, but I had investments. This is what helped me. So she was way over six-figure earner, probably 120, 150 a year. Her husband worked for, I believe, ExxonMobil, so he was also in a high management role. So together they probably made, I don't know what her husband made, but I'm just guessing because of their roles that they were probably at 300 to 500,000 a year. And they had nice cars. I've been to their home. They have a nice home. And I remember her saying something like, "We we make great money, and we have savings and investing." And she said, "And we can't even leave right now." She said something like, "How are you able to like almost like how are you able to do this?" Kind of. It wasn't. I don't even think that's what she said, but it was almost similar to like, "How do you plan to do this? How are you able to do this?" Like, and then she was just like, kind of like you're making a mistake. Like basically, she's just telling me like you're making a mistake. Like don't do this, whatever. So I remember feeling like I have my investments. That's enough for now, and I plan to do more investing in more things, so I should be okay. So I ended up resigning. I ended up leaving, and then I went and got a real estate license and went into real estate. So I was already a real estate investor, but I wasn't an agent yet. So I ended up doubling and tripling the income they were paying me. So my point is, if I were to stay there, I would have kept working hard for someone else, not knowing my fullest potential or not recognizing or being able to take the time off to develop my fullest potential in my passions. If I had listened to her or listened to any naysayers, so by me staying there, I would have been probably stuck and I would have been waiting for my 50 cents to a dollar raise. When I went out and put the same energy into myself, into my own personal development, my business, I ended up doubling and tripling the income they were able to pay me. So this is one of the videos I'm going to be making about when I left corporate America, and I hope you guys took something from this video and able to learn something about um, you know um, what I want you to take from this video is just knowing that, like, if you're out there working hard for someone else, you're giving them all your energy, all your time, and you're making, really low pay, and you're not being paid what you're worth, start now developing some type of strategy or plan where you can eventually go, like, kind of like venture out on your own, and you'll be surprised. You might end up doubling, tripling, or 10xing what you make at that company, all by like working for yourself or starting a business that you really have a passion for and that you enjoy doing. And then you're able to spend more time with your family, your friends, and when you need to take some time off to yourself, you can travel when you want to. So that's what I'm going to share today in this video today. And then I'll just make more content as I think of more things to share with you guys. Or if you have more questions, I'll just share more content then. But I'm definitely going to just continue to make more videos and try to help as many people who, are in the situation where they feel like they want to break free or leave, but they just feel like they can't do it or they just don't know how to do it. So I hope this video will really help you in some way, some form, some fashion. And thank you guys so much for watching, and check out the next video of planning your corporate escape.